Homefront is about fighting an oppressive, invading force on your own turf. It's a resistance, an uprising, a revolution.
So, what do you say, Brady?
You're gonna stick with us, huh?
Homefront: The Revolution is set in 2029 on the streets of Philadelphia. The US is now under control of the KPA, a unified Korean invasion force. The KPA took control of all the technology they sold to the US through a backdoor in the software. Basically, in this alternate timeline future, America lost the war because they forgot to install a virus scanner.
They turned off our military with a single button press.
This sequel is the story of Brady, a man who joins the resistance force to try and take back the city.
Something, eh, Brady? Only been, what, 3 days with us? And you're gonna meet Walker in person? He's the whole reason I'm here.
Hex, this game has quite a different feeling to the first game.
Yeah, the original Homefront came out in 2011 to a mixed reception, and it was very much a by-the-numbers FPS. Now, I remember us liking how they set up the story of a modern invasion, but I also remember us not really connecting with that story or any of its characters.
Yeah, and I think a part of that is because of the game's setting. You know, it's the home front of America, not Australia. But gameplay-wise, this sequel has evolved quite a bit. And that's in large part because it's now with a new developer, Dambuster Studios. And with a bit of help from Crytek, they've turned it into a more open-world game and inserted a very familiar weapon modding system. There's a lot to like with this new Homefront. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so I think the open-world focus really changes the whole experience. Now you're kind of moving through the environment like more of an observer. Soldiers are everywhere, and they want you and your resistance dead. Flying drones, overwatching blimps, you're always in danger and always on the run.
Seeing the suppression firsthand as an observer in the open world is a much more interesting setup for a game like this, because now you can choose to intervene when you want to. Upon joining the resistance, you quickly become important to the team and set about liberating the city.
You're our only chance.
The game is broken up into a few large zones, each with its own gameplay focus. There's a more open conflict area where you'll be zooming about on motorbikes, of which I cannot control very well, taking out enemy facilities and doing a lot of fighting.
I like that you can recruit soldiers out on the field to help you take down some of these bases. And when you're not jumping over fences on a motorbike, you'll be in the KPA-controlled zones. These areas have a much greater focus on stealth. You'll be doing a lot of hit-and-run activities like sabotage or saving prisoners and civilians.
And all persons caught damaging public property. You have been warned.
Great job, Brady. Every act like this brings us more recruits.
I really enjoyed these sections. It was a nice change of pace and they never overstayed their welcome.
I mean, I found them a little repetitive, but I liked them as well. The stealth mechanics are simple. If you get busted, you basically just break line of sight and hide in a rubbish bin. It works, and running through the streets with drones and an army after you is thrilling. You're pretty weak though, and death comes swiftly. Especially if you haven't spent time doing side missions so that you can upgrade your gear.
Those upgrades are a bit pricey though, aren't they? $500 for knee pads?
Inflation, I guess.
Yeah. It's a great feeling when you do take over one of these zones though. Walking through the streets post-liberation and seeing the civilians rising up and taking back their town, it's rewarding for the player to see the impact of your actions.
Yeah, I think the picture painted by the open world is far more interesting than the actual story, which was a total yawn fest. It's just really bad, predictable dialogue.
I take risks every day that could see me tortured and killed, but not all wars can be won with guns alone. You think I'd get more recognition? Getting you through shouldn't be a problem. Just let me do the talking.
Yeah, it's frustrating to sit through when you're not invested in it. I remember the last Homefront game would trap you in these rooms and you just had to wait for ages for dialogue to play out. This one doesn't do that as much, but it still does it a bit, so I had to find all sorts of unique and interesting ways to entertain myself while they talked about hacking and stuff.
It's not on any of the pre-war maps, so the Norks don't know about it.
Now, we all know finding a Goliath isn't hard.
You think this is the time to be tinkering with Joe lying there shot?
Hey, don't you think I feel it too? Spencer?
In his apartment. Probably locked away knowing Sunderland.
This is the boot that's gonna kick the KPA's ass.
And part of that involves arranging the delivery of military hardware. One course of action. We have to eliminate him and destroy his evidence.
can hover all you want. It's not gonna make this go any quicker.
Ah, flashlights. Only you could make them so entertaining, Barjo. You can tell they've tried hard to build some characters and story arcs, and they're simple enough to follow, but it's also hard to care much about it. The story missions just aren't as much fun as the general zone clearing missions. And I think that's because the strengths of this game really are in those open world elements.
I totally agree, except for the AI. Hex, I do not believe that this army was smart enough to invade.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And you can see how the game struggles with the stealth mechanics too, and that just pulls you out of the moment.
Even so, I really enjoyed this gunplay.
Keep fighting. Where the is our backup? Where the is Paris?
It's still satisfying. Cover is really important, so the shootouts get intense quickly. And I loved the on-the-fly modding and customizing of your weapons. The menu system on PC seemed a little unnecessarily fiddly, but watching mods slide on and off was just cool.
It's a good gear selection too, and yeah, the guns handle well, but I was also really impressed with the parkour system, Barjo. Besides a few windows I struggled to get through, climbing and mantling works well, and parkour puzzles are a big part of liberating zones throughout the game.
Some of the gadgets seemed a little underutilized though, like those hacking RC cars. I never really found a good use for them. But how good is the hacking grenade? No more minigames, just throw a grenade, done. I want to be in that future. Before we wrap up, onto multiplayer. There's no versus mode this time around, but there is 4-player co-op. It's an objective-based mode and surprisingly deep. You build a character from scratch, so it's old iron sights for quite a while until you get enough cash to start customizing. There's a lot to unlock and play with as you approach a variety of maps, each with different goals and scenarios.
I just stabbed a guy in the eye.
Good job.
Because that's what I do, Barjo. That's
There's
what I
someone
do.
here!
But I'm hacking right now, so
burned
you
him.
take care of
He
the
burned.
stuff. Well, oh, I see. You set him on fire.
Yeah.
I love how the first thing you do in multiplayer is pick a backstory occupation, such as pharmacist or receptionist.
I'm a pharmacist.
What's a stevedore?
That you should definitely be a stevedore.
4 generations of your family worked on the docks. Through good times and bad. Now the docks are just piles of scrap and rubble. Someone's gotta pay.
It suits this civilian taking up arms warfare. And it also gives you some perks. There were so many random ones, weren't there? I mean, there was one occupation you could choose that was, I think, personal shopper. And I was like, how is that going to apply to this environment? But it turns out because you're so good at picking clothes, you could pick ones that were more damage resistant.
Makes sense. And didn't you go with Dancer, who was more agile?
Yeah, she was supposed to be more agile, but
Yeah.
she wasn't really.
No.
Well, she didn't feel it anyway. Guess it depends what kind of dancer.
KPA so they can
I feel like
extract
for a
from the zone
dancer, I
safely.
run pretty slow.
About time reinforcements were sent!
Much like the single player, you go down very quickly. And we were playing this before the game was actually out, so it was just the 2 of us, and the game feels like it really is designed for 4 players, so that made reviving tough.
Yeah, but it also didn't help that you had your camera phone out like half the time.
Yeah.
Stop taking photos!
Documenting the atrocities of our poor gameplay work.
X.
Yeah.
Smile.
Are you taking a photo of me?
You're so close!
No, there's a guy with a gun, Roger!
Didn't even save the photos I took as screenshots, Hex. What a waste of time.
Hang on. Hex, turn around. I'm trying to take a photo. Smile. Hex.
Oh, shit!
Smile. Smile.
What I like most about our brief time with the multiplayer was the setting. It's a war-torn environment, and you're running around trying to survive, scavenging for mats. It was just really interesting. Overall, I liked this Homefront much more than the last game.
Yeah, I mean, I think I liked it a bit more, but there are still quite a few rough edges.
Oh yeah, it's got its flaws, but that core gameplay is so fun.
Yeah, the open world inspired some pretty good design, and I was so pleased to see so many women about.
You guys totally stormed it.
Previously, they've just seemed to have all died out in military or apocalyptic games. But Homefront's progressiveness sort of stops there. I mean, in the end, I just couldn't really get past how dated a lot of the game felt. From that tired, bland story to the AI from 2005.
Yeah, the engine is feeling a bit creaky. Like, the game actually looks really beautiful at times with lovely detail, but then you just can't push high frame rates. It struggles. It doesn't feel very well optimized.
Well, what are you giving it?
I'm giving it 3.5 out of 5 stars.
Well, it's 3 out of 5 from me.
There's dudes everywhere. Go, go, go.
KPA reinforcements heading your way.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
Hey, up.
I'm in
Hey,
trouble.
up.
Oh! I'm dead.
I'm dead too.
Oh no! I brought up my phone to take a photo of his face.